I'd happily split profits knowing that he has to kill something in order to eat instead of him banking on the fact that he's eating every 2 weeks. It would be really hard for me to be okay with that structure. I have been so quick to jump in partnerships off of excitement and knowing my ability to integrate, wanting to partner with other visionaries and build their dream. And they just don't have the grit that it takes to build it.
What responsibility does a partner have to pay attention to the other aspects of the business? What indicators should you look for as an early warning that something isn't working? And how do you consider the benefits and the costs of bringing in a partner versus hiring a highly compensated employee? My name is Barrett Young, and this is the Art of Succession podcast. My guest today is Jarom Rogers, a partner in Legacy Hearing Professionals. Today, we're going to hear a story about removing a partner that at best wasn't pulling their weight and at worst was defrauding the company, and the steps that Jarom and his partner took to recover. Jarom, welcome to the Art of Succession.
Hey, Barrett, thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So give me a little bit of background about your partner and, just leading up to the acquisition of the company that you later came into.
So a good friend of ours owned and operated a hearing aid company, and he had a partner at that time who wasn't helping the business grow, for lack of a better term. And they were about a couple days away from having the landlord lock them out of their building. And so they weren't paying rent. His partner was in charge of paying the rent, paying the suppliers, and he wasn't making payments to those suppliers or the landlord. And so they almost lost it all. He made a phone call, and we basically bought out his partner, paid off the debt to the landlord, and are now a silent partner in that hearing aid company.
Did your friend start this company with this partner? How did that come about?
Yeah. So actually, the one who's no longer a partner was the one who started it, and my friend is the one. He was taught by the guy who's no longer part of it, so he learned a lot from him, and then he got caught up in things that kind of took him away from helping drive and build the business. And my friend basically has learned everything from the guy who's no longer there, and has built a successful business off of what he's learned from him.
How long as an employee had your friend been working with his mentor, been learning this before?
I think like 15 years.
Okay. And
yeah.
Eventually the conversation turned to partnership, and he was brought in as 50-50 partner, or what was that structure?
Their structure was a 50-50 partnership. And then when we bought out his partner, it then switched. He remained 50-50 and we were 50-50.
So I assume there were no indications of wrongdoing or of any kind of impropriety on your in your friend's mind when he came into this partnership. How long after he got in behind the scenes? Do you want to talk about specifics, or do you want to leave it at generalities? How long after he got in behind the scenes did he start to know something wasn't right there?
Well, I think he knew for a while something wasn't right, but when they were getting evicted from their space is when he realized that, hey, we've something's got to give. We have to fix this. And so
okay.
that's when we came in, and because they had no option. They didn't have the money. They did not have the financial backing to buy out the landlord and to pay off their suppliers. They would have lost it all.
Okay. So he had suspicions things weren't healthy within the company, but probably voiced these to the partner, and the partner blew him off and said, no, it's fine. Don't worry about that. I got it taken care of. And then to the point of eviction, this is probably like back payments going back a couple years to vendors and things like that. Is that about right?
Yeah, there was a pretty hefty bill to the landlord that was owed, and then a pretty hefty bill to our supplier, our hearing aid supplier, that was owed.
Ballpark amount? How much are we talking?
200,000.
Okay. Um, any employees in the business, or is it just him and his former mentor?
No, nope. It was him, his former mentor, and then one salesman
Okay, gotcha. Brick and
who was
mortar
still there.
store selling hearing aids, doing fittings, things like that. Custom
Yeah.
made.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So did your friend, I mean, talking to you and bringing you into this, did your friend talk about warning signs? Like if I were to advise somebody who's listening to this and they're like, wow, my partner just keeps on brushing me off too and saying, don't worry about it, I got it all taken care of. What would you advise somebody to look for so that it doesn't get to that last minute? I had this happen to almost this exact case happen to a large client of mine, and they actually didn't know something was wrong until the IRS caught up with them for back payroll taxes to the tune of almost $1 million.
Oh gosh.
And he actually had to fire his mentor from that company. Similar situation, but yeah, just last minute. Before, don't find out until it's too late kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
What would your advice be to your friend of some warning signs that he told you? I completely just ignored this.
Well, I would say you have to look at the books. You have to see every penny going in, every penny going out. Um, that's the only way you're going to know. And you have to have a third party accountant that you both trust, and that's what I would recommend, because he didn't see what was coming in and what was going out. And he was an operator, so he sold. He didn't deal with the back end office stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a partner, and if I was giving an advice to a partner, I don't care what your role is. If you're boots on the ground, if you're back end office, it doesn't matter. You've got to have a meeting of the minds once a week and review your metrics that you're tracking, your financial metrics. You have to know them. If you're a partner, you have to know them. I don't care what your role in the business is.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's your name being signed on the hook for all these things. You have a right to understand what's going on there. So, but I think that happens so frequently. You have one partner who's the financial savvy, supposedly one, and then one who's the technician or the out in the field one. And
Yep.
one doesn't want to do that job and the other one doesn't want to do the other job. And so, but yeah, you're right. Just like,
And that's okay. You don't have to do. You can specialize in your lane, whatever that is.
yeah.
But there's some things that you have to share knowledge, and of the P&L, you have to share that knowledge if you're partners.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So he's about to be evicted and you get a call or a text. What did you say that was?
Yep. Get a call, and he's like, "Hey, I need some help." And so he kind of laid out the situation of what was going on, and we helped him and became a financial partner
Okay.
in this business.
When you say we helped him, you and the company you work for, or you personally?
So me, the operator of the hearing aid company, owns 50%, and then me and my partner own the other 50%. And so actually what had happened is, so my partner and the operator have known each other for a really long time. And that's actually how we got the phone call. And
okay.
That's how we connected, and we were able to make it work.
Okay. What's your background?
My background is I am an integrator. So, with my partner,
A little bit of rocket fuel there.
Exactly. My partner's a visionary, and I'm absolutely the integrator. And so he'll share his ideas. I'll kind of bring him down to the ground and create a system. And it's worked really, really well for the past 7 years for us.
Okay. In what field? What
So
industry?
multiple. I mean, we own a construction company. We own a home flipping company, and we also run a real estate team here in Arizona.
Gotcha. So realty adjacent businesses.
Real estate and construction. Construction, I mean, it varies everywhere from we flip, which is a separate business, and then we do new builds and remodels, which is a totally separate business, different subcontractors, different employees from our flip business.
All right. So your partner gets a call from the operator and says, I need help. How, what's that decision look like? Walk me through the next week, or I guess how quickly this moved.
I was hesitant. I'm like, we're not doing that. We don't know anything about this guy's business. We don't know what other problems he's involved in. We don't know what we're putting, because we put our name on the LLC. We didn't know what we were signing up for. And, the visionary, being the visionary, was like, we got to do this. I just know we got to do it. It's going to
It'll all work
work.
out.
And in my mind, I'm like, how is this going to work? There's so much we got to figure out to make sure that we're protected, we're safe, that we can actually help build his business. And anyways, he won, and we decided to pull the trigger, and that one of the best decisions we've ever made.
Approximately how long did that take?
It didn't take long. So I have a background in commercial real estate. And so I was able to call the landlord and figure out like a grace period, because they had already issued the 5D notice. The doors were getting locked in like 24 hours. And so we were able to negotiate an extension of that 5-day period for us to give them some money, and with an agreement to pay more every month for X amount of time, for X amount of months. Okay. And now that debt has been paid in full, and business is operating and things are great. But it didn't take long to execute the agreement with the operator. The business partner that we bought out, he was happy to get bought out. I think he wanted the money. I think he just wanted the cash, the quick cash, and I think he wanted to wash his hands. I think he realized that he had dug a big hole for us to get out of, and if we were going to give him money to go and jump in the hole he dug, then I think he was ecstatic about that.
Oh, okay. I didn't ask, approximately how many years ago did this all take place?
2.5 years ago? Oh, no, probably more like 3 years ago. Yeah, it's probably been 3 years.
How did you come up with a value for this partner that was just happy to get anything?
We took annual revenue. We looked at net profits, and we lowballed him because we knew he was desperate to get out, and we knew that he was desperate for cash. And so we didn't pay him nearly what we felt the business was worth, and he took it.
So some multiple of net profits, but then you back out the $200,000 owed to get to that amount, roughly.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you guys take out a loan to be able to pay that off right away? Did you have to go on installment for that too?
Nope. We paid him in full right away. We paid him. We wanted him out. We got him off the LLC, added our names on the LLC, and that way he was no longer part of any operations at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of best case scenario there. He didn't dig his heels in. I was expecting a kind of how to force out a partner would be the discussion here. But this guy saw the cash, saw the trouble, realized cash is better than what we don't have working here. Cash is better than getting evicted tomorrow.
Yeah, and he knew it. He knew that if he got evicted, that's going to hit his credit, and he'd be in trouble. And so and he only had so much time to make that decision, either yes or no. And I think that time crunch just forced him to sign and take the money.
After you and your partner are in the business now, what else did you uncover? I mean, was it worse than even the operator thought it was? With that initial call?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't worse than what we originally thought it was. There was debt that was owed, and we had worked out agreements with our suppliers and with our landlord, like I had mentioned earlier. And we were able to pay them off over the course of a year, by just paying them a little bit more every single month to pay down our debt.
Okay. But tax returns had been getting filed, payroll, that kind of stuff was being done.
Yep, all that was being done, fortunately.
Okay, that's great. How did I guess, what was your operator's perspective on this, on now having two partners?
Yeah,
Obviously
so
gratitude, but
yep,
what else?
he he was used to getting 50%. So by bringing us in and taking the other 50%, I don't that didn't bother him. He does 98% of all of the lifting, which is how it was before we even came in.
Oh, it was.
Um,
Okay. So
yeah,
this guy was almost retired anyways. He was just pulling money out of the company, not doing
yeah,
anything.
yeah. But no, he wouldn't have a job right now. He wouldn't be working, doing what he's doing now if we didn't come in and bail him out.
Mm-hmm. Why did you guys become 50% partner instead of just do a loan to this guy to be able to buy out his former partner and become 100% owner? Was there a reason behind that?
Yep, we have partnered. So managing 1099 subcontractors, real estate agents, we have given loans to them. They're business owners of their own business, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have given loans to them and given them everything: coaching, training, teaching, the systems, how to be successful as a realtor. And it never panned out. It just never, we never made our money back, from them, from our experience. And so when this opportunity came available, it was the only way that we felt comfortable doing it. We had lost way too much money in other ventures that, unless you're willing to split profits with us, it's not worth it for us. We own and operate other businesses, and so if we have to be day-to-day operations just for a loan, the risk just isn't. It's too much risk, especially with the history of what was going on with the business. So if we were going to do it, we were going to do it together.
Okay, so you said he does 98% of everything, but that 2% that you guys are doing, he knew that he was securing your interest in the company. You guys are involved in the success of that company more than just, pay us the monthly principal and interest.
Yeah, revenues and profits have increased since we've partnered. He's been able to focus more on operations and not so much focus on back end or marketing or taxes or accounting or any of that stuff. So we've freed him up to where he can just sell hearing aids. And because of that, the business has been much more successful.
I gotcha. So your 50% ownership, or 25 and 25, came with a back office. I mean, you guys are using your same company resources for your construction company in order to take care of this kind of stuff too.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. And the business is still him and one other salesperson, or has it grown
Correct.
from there?
Yep.
Or
Him and one other salesperson. We've had the opportunity to buy other hearing aid shops around the state, but we've just been a little hesitant on. We've made the mistake of expanding too fast.
Okay,
And
explain that.
yeah, so when we expanded, our real estate company expanded to California,
Oh, okay.
San
You and
Diego.
your partner previously had made this
Yep.
mistake.
We have made this mistake previously of expanding too quickly. And in order for a location, whether it's real estate, hearing aids, construction, doesn't matter, you have to have the right operator in place. And we're just not at a point to where we can spread our operator here in Phoenix too thin to run multiple branches in Arizona. So we'd have to find an additional operator and let's talk a partner, an additional partner. And finding partners is tough. The right partners is tough. We've made the mistake too many times of partnering with the wrong people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exciting to expand. It's exciting to go and open new markets, but it's not exciting when you realize that you're losing money and you're locked into a 5-year lease and other obligations. It's not fun.
Yeah, I know I've had this come up in previous episodes, like the difference between bringing in a partner versus bringing in a highly compensated employee. I mean, you and your partner didn't want to do that with this business. Was there ever any consideration of you guys would just buy out both, like 100% of the company, and that operator would continue on as an employee, or do they still wanted to be an owner?
I mean, the operator would be open to that probably, but it's just hard for me because he has to have skin in the game. And I don't want him just to be comfortable knowing that he's going to get a paycheck every 2 weeks. And I wouldn't feel comfortable doing something like that. I'd happily split profits knowing that he has to kill something in order to eat instead of him banking on the fact that he's eating every 2 weeks. So it would be really hard for me to be okay with that structure.
I gotcha. So if you were to expand by other hearing aid facilities, you'd probably want a 50, 25, 25 structure similar to what you have here.
I would prefer that. Even though we would make less money, I would prefer that because the risk is a little bit less on us.
Yeah, talk to me about the growth. When a business is unhealthy, it manifests itself in lots of different ways. And when that is removed, it unleashes just a lot of stuff. So talk to me about the growth, just in terms of multiples or numbers or anything you're comfortable with.
Yeah. So the growth, I'd say the biggest contributor of the growth was being able to narrow focus.
Okay.
When you're juggling so many balls, you're going to drop them.
Explain that part. What was being juggled?
So if you're juggling operations, marketing, suppliers, shipping, recruiting, big ideas, I mean, whatever it is, the overall process of the business. If you're a one-man shop, you can only do so much. And so if you're able to leverage yourself and sub out things that are lower dollar per hour activities than selling hearing aids, you can actually generate a whole heck of a lot more money when you focus on just selling hearing aids. And so we came in and we were able to take off a lot of the operations piece as far as marketing, accounting, back end, to where he could focus on sales. And then he didn't have any marketing in place, really. We came in and started doing ads, Google, mailers, consulting with other big hearing aid companies that were seeing success in online marketing. And so we took all of that over so that he could focus on selling, just selling. And that alone, I'll attribute that to the majority of the growth.
He's doing 98% of the work. The other partner is just taking money out of the company and just bleeding it dry. But at that time, he's also the only one responsible for all these things. If it had to get done, he was the one that was doing it.
Correct.
Except for the financial piece that he was being told was all taken care of. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And I say 98%. It's not like an actual 98%, but he does do the majority of all the work.
But you guys come in with no background in specific to that industry, but you're able to use your understanding of marketing and accounting and all of the operations of a company and quickly
Yep.
move into and redirect those kind of efforts to the growth of the
Yep.
company. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, great.
Exactly.
How long after the partner was gone did profitability, was it immediately there?
It was immediate.
Okay,
I
great.
mean, it was literally within 30 days. It was that quick.
And you're able to pay off the landlord and the vendor and everything from the profit of the business. And so you and your partner just put money in, but it was basically just sitting there and then get paid out eventually.
Correct. So we were able to pay off all of our debts and ourselves back within 18 months of purchasing the property, or the business.
All right. Wow. He was really bleeding the money out then.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Somebody who is hearing this and they are drowning and they're a solopreneur and they're, operating by themselves, what would be your advice to somebody why would I bring in a silent partner who can do this stuff versus allocate capital, allocate profit from the business and pay somebody to outsource all this stuff? What would be your advice to them? Whether they should find somebody that's going to be a third partner or 20% partner, like have skin in the game like you guys are versus not. Because I know you've been on both sides of it too, because you're not allocating that stuff. You have employees within your construction company rather than, bring in a marketing partner for 10% over there.
Yeah. I'd first encourage them to find out, to learn about who they are and how they operate. Because I'll go back to rocket fuel. If you're an integrator and you're trying to be a visionary, it's just not going to work. And if you're a visionary trying to be an integrator, it's just tough.
So miserable.
It's just tough, and you're going to clash, and it's not cohesive. It's bumpy. It's not smooth. And so, first of all, figure out who you are and how you operate, what your personality is. That'd be my first suggestion. And then whatever you are, if you are an integrator, go out and find somebody who's a visionary and that you mesh well with. I am a huge believer in partners. Now, Cody Sanchez, if you know who that is, she went to ASU, so I'm a diehard Cody Sanchez fan because I'm a Devils fan. But she sees it differently.
Mm-hmm.
She likes to keep the whole thing and then just pay employees, and that works for her. She's a billionaire. She's obviously extremely successful, but good employees are so hard to find, and I've had better luck finding good partners than good employees. And so, just from my personal experience and I'm super risk averse. I would rather share in the liability with someone who we can yin and yang with each other instead of bringing in an employee to do something that I'm not really good at. That would be my advice from my experience.
That's similar to my own. I was anti-partner for so long. I started my own company, but I'm a visionary, and I found myself having to be an integrator and getting burned out. And I ended up 7 years ago partnering here with a friend. She's an integrator, and she was getting burned out from having to play the visionary. Be the only person trying to innovate within the partners here at the firm. And so we found a great fit there. But too many people think, oh, well, I'm doing this well. So use CPAs as an example. I'm a CPA that's got a successful firm. And if I partner with this CPA, we could have twice as big of a successful firm. But the roles and the skills are the exact same. So it's like an integrator partnering with an integrator and then wondering why things aren't growing. So yeah, so know yourself. And then you're saying be very specific in what you're looking for in a partner. Don't just go to the first person that has money and says, I'll solve all your problems for you.
Yep. And make sure you have like a resume on that partner. If they have not done this before, don't do it. Don't do it. If they do not have some sort of experience in owning or operating a business as a visionary or an integrator, or I'd have them take the test if it were me. Like, take the rocket fuel test. Who are you? You say you're a visionary, but are you actually a visionary? and make sure that they have some experience. I would never partner with a green partner ever again. If you're green, I can't do it. It's not worth the risk for me because I'm going to give you everything of me. I'm giving you my all. I'm not holding anything back. And the last thing that I want is to have to train somebody how to be a visionary or an integrator. You should have some experience. And if I'm bringing you on as a partner, you have to have some sort of experience and know what you're doing.
Your operator that's working in the company now, what are they? Are they? It
I mean,
sounds like they're an integrator.
They're an integrator.
Okay.
They're head down and just chop wood.
Yep. So that probably works for the two of you because you and your partner are silent partners within that business. Like you're integrating these pieces over here, but he's integrating the sales and the getting the product out the door.
Correct.
What is it like to be an integrator working with another integrator? How do you, for you, in this case, those roles are clearly defined, but as this operator, I would think wants to move up into more ownership of the company, wants to move into the back office possibly and take over 100% of the company someday. I guess, how do you define which roles are under whose purveyance?
So if that was the case, it wouldn't work. We'd have to figure out a restructure.
Because you guys are doing so much that's not built into the profit of that company more.
Yeah. Like, for example, the operator talks more directly with the integrator, my partner. If I'm in, it's because I'm looking at numbers, metrics. Hey, we're not hitting our 4 metrics. What's going on? Where are we dropping the ball? We need to incentivize the gap somewhere. Where's the gap? And so the operators.
He's talking to your partner, the visionary, rather.
Like 90% of the time.
Okay. So in this relationship, and as far as the hearing aid store goes, it is an operator and a visionary in that situation. You're not the integrator really in this.
I am when it comes to the operations of the business. I'm not selling the hearing aids, but I'm the one looking at the metrics and what metrics we decide to look at and view and what metrics are important and what our goals are. So what is our quarterly goal? Are we hitting it?
Okay.
What's our annual goal, our monthly goal, weekly goal? What's our numbers? Where are we? And so that's where I can get a gauge of the overall health of the business now and 6 months from now, and have a good idea and project and forecast our earnings 6 months down the road, a year down the road, dependent on current activities that we're doing today. So that's where I am involved in monitoring those metrics and activities to make sure that we are profitable 3 months from now.
Okay. Gotcha. I didn't ask about this, but this does bring this up. Are you guys doing like cost allocating or something like that? Is it paying the construction company for the overhead that's being provided, or are you guys just absorbing that as partners on your end?
No, we're not. We don't commingle much of any of that. All of our stuff is separate.
The hearing aid company is not paying for accounting right now because you guys are doing that over here, or do they? When your accountants are working on it, they're billing it to the company.
That's it.
Okay.
Yep. So same accounting firm, but hearing is paying for when they're working on hearing.
Gotcha. So when your marketing wing of your construction company is doing marketing for that, it's getting paid by hearing.
When we market for hearing is paying for that marketing.
Yeah. That's
so let me rephrase that. So we have in-house marketing, like an in-house marketing company that the real estate team pays for. So we're able to leverage that to help offset the marketing cost for our hearing, if that makes sense.
Explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, so we're already paying for a marketer.
Mm-hmm.
Our real estate team's already paying for a marketer who's incredible. And so when the visionary has these incredible marketing ideas and he brings it to me and the marketing gal for the hearing aid company, she's already in house, so we leverage her to where through the marketing is paying for maybe any marketing material or Google pay-per-click
Direct costs.
campaigns,
Yeah.
direct costs. So
Okay.
we're able to leverage the fixed costs that we're already paying for in the other businesses. Was that your question?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to understand is if, if the two companies were to separate, those costs are not currently being reported in the income statement for
Correct.
necessarily all the work that's being done there. There's a lot that you
Yeah,
guys are covering with just
that's
extra
correct.
hours or work on the, filling out the projects and
Yep.
stuff. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I mean, just by fact of that alone, it could, it turns profitability in a company very quickly of just
Yeah.
that cost sharing. So, okay.
Mhm.
How would you advise somebody who is an operator and loves their technical role to get more involved to make sure that you and your partner obviously are not, but you and your partner are not also ripping them off?
Yeah. So he's involved as far as he knows every penny and sees every penny on paper, what comes in and what goes out. So he is 100% clued in to what our marketing costs or what we're spending on campaigns or um, what supply costs and the margins between supply and what we can sell them for on the market.
No.
So he's completely plugged in to all of that. Now, is he plugged into how we run the ad campaigns and how we target and redirect? No. Would I recommend he understand that? No. It doesn't, and unless he wants to go and run on his own and do his own stuff, but then that would be a horrible use of his time. The best use of his time is to sell.
So he's partnered with you guys, whereas before his other partner says, don't worry about it, I got it covered. He's partnered with you guys and you're like, no, we want you to understand this aspect of this. We're going
Absolutely.
to teach you what this means. We're going to, show you what it means to
Absolutely.
be business owners. So,
Yep. We want you to see every dollar coming in and coming out. And we have nothing to hide. Absolutely not. We're totally transparent as partners. We should be. And there's no hiding anything, especially when it comes to money.
other than taking the rocket fuel test, and you know, you said your main question that you wanted to talk about here was finding the right partner. And so hard. I mean, I'm still finding out things about my partner after 7 years that I didn't know, going into it. I know you are too. You just find out people change and
Yep.
they say something's important and then you sign the agreement and find out something else is important. So,
Yeah.
how do you go about finding the right partner? Because, like marriage, it's like, I don't want to tell you so much that you run away, but I want to tell you enough that you can trust that I'm telling you. I'm not, sugarcoating everything. How do you find the right partner and keep yourself from finding out 6 months from now or a year from now if I've made a huge mistake? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Because you've been burned too. So,
Um, I have been burned too many times with partnerships. Uh, the partner that I have now, it's been like, gosh, 8 years. I've known him for almost my entire life. And so that's been super helpful. I've known his personality. I know what he's good at, what he struggles at with. Um, and so I knew what I was getting into for having known him for so long. Um, but we, I have been so quick to jump in partnerships off of excitement and knowing my ability to integrate, wanting to partner with other visionaries and build their dream. And they just don't have the grit that it takes to build it. And yeah, I know your big thing is jumping into pre-existing businesses and not starting from the ground up. The best business I'm a part of, I shouldn't say that, but one of the best businesses I'm a part of is the one that was already operating, and it requires the least amount of work, and it's one of the most fun to be a part of.
this is hearing, or this is
This is
okay.
hearing. Yeah, this is hearing. The construction company, it's man, it's tough and it's not fun. It's not fun at all. I would have rather bought an existing construction company than started from scratch
Oh, why?
because I would have had the ability to look at history, past sales, who's been in the business, what they're doing, operations, expenses, income, relationships, vendors. I have all of that information that I can make a decision on whether or not I feel good investing in this business. Starting from zero, you don't have any of that history. And so you're going into it optimistic, thinking that everything's going to work out great. Well, optimism kills businesses. And optimism has killed some of our businesses. And so anyways, I love, like I said, Cody Sanchez, and your whole point of this podcast, I love businesses that are already operating that just need structure and need some direction on what to do and how to grow. And lots of times it's visionaries who can't let go of the vine and they want to do everything themselves. They have trust issues. And so anyways, that's what I would say.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear your perspective. I mean, on mine, the downside of buying an existing business from a visionary is it's not my baby. Like it's not, I didn't create it from scratch. I didn't make every single little direction or innovation that now defines this company.
Yep.
So I understand. I've gotten over that. But from an integrator's perspective, I would think like all the processes in a healthy company when you acquire it, they're all set, but you don't see it that way. You see it as we have processes that are working, or correct me if I'm wrong. You see it as we have processes that are working, and now I get to choose which process I want to focus on next. Is that kind of how you approach that?
Correct.
To be excited by it.
And
I don't have to solve everything.
Piece,
I can solve the one I want to.
Yeah.
So.
And you can work on it piece by piece. But going back to the visionary piece, you operate emotionally. And so, yeah, it's my baby, right? Like I want it cool. I'm more focused on like tangible numbers and like tangible outcomes. And so if there's a business that's operating, if there's an opportunity to add value to increase revenues, and if you're valuing the business based off of 3 times revenue, 10 times revenue, whatever industry you're in, I'm going to try and find that value add opportunity, increase sales and revenue to increase the value of that business, just like real estate. In the commercial world, it was the same. We would take C-class properties and put in B-class tenants and fill vacancy and add value over the millions of dollars of value over the course of 12 months. And the same thing can happen in businesses if you know how to motivate, incentivize, and cut the fat on business operations.
Okay, awesome. Practically speaking, what's the minimum time you would say feel out a future partner before jumping into something to make sure that it's not just excitement?
From ground up or from a pre-existing business?
Bringing somebody into a pre-existing business. I'm struggling here. I need to bring in a partner. How long should I? Yeah, I know, right? So a lot of my friends, I ran my own company for 6 years and I went back to being an employee, and I didn't actually become a partner here until I'd been working here for 3 years. But that was intentional because my partner, Sam, she wanted me to have an exit plan. I didn't fire my clients when I came in here. They didn't acquire me. She wanted to make sure I wanted to be here. And it took, 1.5 of those 3 years for me to make that decision. And so many people are like, how could you go back to being an employee? Why didn't you just become a partner from day one? And it's like, because we don't know. There's a lot of stuff we don't know.
Yeah. I think what you just said is exactly what I'd recommend. Bring them in as an employee with the expectation of, if such and such happens and we grow X amount, you can have an ownership opportunity. That way there's like this grace period and this probationary period, instead of jumping straight into bed with someone that you don't have a really long history with. I would definitely recommend starting off as an employee. and working your way up. If we were to ever bring a partner into our business, that's how I would do it. I don't think I would ever put someone in as a partner right off the bat. And I don't care where they came from. I don't I don't care if they were the CEO of Amazon, because their personality and their values may not
it's going to
mesh.
change that company. And
Yep,
if they're a partner from day one, it's going to be that much harder to get them out on day 30 than if they're an employee and it's like,
absolutely,
it's not working out. So,
absolutely. And I want to see I want to see them sweat. I want to see them struggle. How are you going to, progress through adversity? Are you the type that just gives up and rolls over, or do you stay late and fix it? And you can only tell that by actually being in the trenches with them.
man, that's good. Anything else here before we wrap up the call, Jarom, that you wanted to talk about?
No, I don't think so. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, thanks for being
Yeah.
being on here so much. It is good to hear the outside investor's perspective on these things. Yeah. Okay. So what I like to do with my guests at the end of the show is just do a lightning round, and this is a chance to get to know my guests just a little bit better and find out some of their thoughts on other things, how they think about business, how they think about their place in the marketplace. So, are you ready for the lightning round?
I'm ready, I think.
Okay. All right. First question is coffee or tea, and how do you like it?
Neither. I'm a water guy.
Okay. Water.
Water.
Trying to hit like eight gallons, or not 8 gallons, 8 cups a day or anything like that.
I try, but I can't drink that much. Even being here in Phoenix, and it's hot as
Yeah.
it's hot.
Yep.
I don't even know if I get 8 cups a day, but I'm just a water guy. I don't caffeinate.
Okay.
So it's water for me. That's my choice.
All right. Alternate, iced or tap.
Oh, ice. Absolutely ice water.
All right. My wife's the same way. I can't drink ice water.
Oh man, I can't drink tap. It makes me sick.
All right. Pie or cake?
Cake.
Any specific kind?
Um, Not necessarily. It has to have like a ton of frosting.
Okay.
If the frosting isn't as thick as the actual cake part, I won't eat it.
All right. What is a common belief among entrepreneurs that you would want to challenge?
Um, there's other people out there that are just as good as you are. I think as an entrepreneur myself, I think that I'm the only one who can do it right. And that is not the case. If I can just give people a little bit of trust and grace, they end up being able to perform a whole lot better than I can on a lot of aspects of the business.
Okay. Gotcha. So it's kind of like that idea of hire smarter than you on certain things.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
What's your favorite holiday and why?
Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. I love food. I'm a huge foodie. I used to love Christmas, but it's too commercialized for me now. And so it's too stressful as a parent too. Christmas is stressful. Thanksgiving is fun, relaxing. You're with family, you're eating food. The weather here in Phoenix is nice. So for me, it's Thanksgiving, hands down.
Awesome. I think you might be my first guest that picked my favorite holiday. So,
Nice.
do you consider yourself a morning person or a night person? And do you have a favorite routine?
Morning. Yep. I'm up at 4 a.m. every morning. And the routine is the gym. I'm in the sauna for 20 minutes, and then I lift weights for another 45 minutes. And then I get home, get my kids ready for school, and then I'm off to work.
Okay. Awesome. What is one thing that you would want your successor to remember you for?
Yeah. So I like that question a lot. And I think what I would want to be remembered for is how hard it was to get to where we are and didn't give up. And so if whatever successor takes over what we have, them knowing that we didn't give up when it was hard.
Okay. Awesome. Where do you find yourself finding creativity right now?
I don't. I let my visionary do that.
You're an integrator.
So I know my lane,
When
and
my partner says this is
exactly. I'm the visionary at home, but I'm not the visionary at the office, and so I tend to not be very vocal with my creativity.
okay. But I know integrators can be very creative when it comes to processes.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
just what gets them excited rather than a
Yep.
direction or something off in the future.
Yeah.
They're like, no, this right here, I want to get stuck in on it for the next
Yep.
2 days and
That's it.
don't bug me.
That's it.
Nice. And what do you guys have coming up? I guess with the hearing aid store, what do you guys have coming up in the next year or so that's got you really excited?
There's another shop that's looking to sell, and it's about 2 hours north of Phoenix, and that's exciting. We feel like we're really close to the point to where we can afford to expand. We have been in talks with this operator for 6 months now, and there's a high probability that that might be something that we pull the trigger on if we have a good fourth quarter. Fourth quarter here in Phoenix is good because Snowbird's coming to town, and there's a lot of old people in Phoenix during the winter, and so depending on what that looks like and how well we're able to do will determine on if we can afford to expand our business.
All right. Interesting. Very good. Well, thank you, Jarom. Jarom, I really appreciate you being on a guest of the Artist Succession podcast. This has been great. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, Barrett.